everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I've got some cute little sled buddies. This one's laying on his stomach with his legs up in the air, and this one's just sitting forward. And if you don't want to put arms and legs on them, you could always just make one for a tiered tray. If you want to know how to make these little guys, stick around. I'll show you how. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to start with a sled I got at Dollar Tree, and they have these at Walmart as well. Then I'm going to take a styrofoam comb that measures 3 3/4 inches in length by 2 inches in diameter. And I'll give you the link for these. I got these on Amazon. And then I'm taking a styrofoam ball that measures 2 inches, a dowel stick that's 1/4 inch by 6 inch, and sharpen it. Then we're just going to push the dowel stick into the styrofoam ball with the pointy end, and then we are going to cut it a little bit short so we can diagonal it into the cone. Now I'm going to cut this at 2.5 inches in length. And I'm just using a miter shear to cut this. And then we're going to go ahead and put the blunt end into our styrofoam ball and glue that in. And then we're going to diagonal it into the styrofoam cone. Just kind of do it at a diagonal. And then go ahead and glue it in. Okay, next we're going to take a toddler sock, and that's a size 4 to 7. And we're just going to put the heel end onto the bottom of the styrofoam cone. And then just go ahead and pull it all the way up as tight as you can get it. And we're going to put a rubber band around the top. And then we're going to put a string between the neck and the body to give it some definition. Just take a rubber band to hold it in place. And then we're just going to take a string to wrap around the center part to make the definition between the head and the body. And you're going to want to make this tight because you do want to make sure your definition is pretty defined. Okay, then we're going to cut the top part of the sock off, and then we're just going to glue that down to the ball. So to get as close as you can to that rubber band, because that's all you're going to need is just that little bit to glue that down. And then go ahead and take your rubber band off, and we're going to go ahead and glue this to the top part of the styrofoam ball. Just pull it on up there and use some hot glue and glue it together. We're going to make the hat, and we're going to cut it about 3 inches from the edge. And save the heel part because we are going to make the legs out of that part. And then go ahead and turn it right side out or inside out and put a rubber band around it and kind of gather it up as best you can, kind of evenly. And then we're going to tie a string around it to hold it all together. Just kind of get it as even as you can, and then go ahead and tie your string. And if you do about 3 loops before you tie it, it tightens real tight. And then go ahead and cut off the excess. Next, we're going to cut our beard, and we're going to cut it at 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and just cutting in the backing only in a U shape all the way around to the other side. And then go ahead and clean any excess fur off. Next, we're going to make the legs, and we're going to take just a cork and cut it at 1/2 inch in length. We're going to cut 2 of them at 1/2 inch. This is how we're going to attach the legs to the body, and we're just going to take that leftover piece of sock, and that's what we're going to cover to make both of the legs. Just make sure that you cut it where you have enough to cover both legs. So I'm just going to kind of cut the edges off of them, and then I'm just going to cut it in half. And then to cover them, you're just going to take a dollop of glue, put it right in the center, put your cork in there, and then you're just going to start pulling it up around the edges and glue it as you go. This stretches pretty good, so you do have enough to go all the way around these legs. Just kind of pull them up there until you get to the very top, and then we'll start trimming it off and gluing the top part in. And then trim any excess off that's hanging over the top because you don't want that seen. But don't go all the way to the edge because you do need this to go over the top. And then you're going to do the other leg exactly the same way. So to attach them, we're just going to kind of put them on the back side of his body and just go ahead and glue one down, kind of angle it out a little bit, and you're going to glue the other one on the opposite side. Okay, next we're going to take a piece of fleece. It measures 9.5 inches by 1 inch, and we're going to make a scarf. And we're going to start right in the center, and we are just going to glue this together. Just find your center point, and then we're just going to fold it over and glue it together. Just a little bit flap over there, and then the other one over to the top of it. And then we're going to glue down a little bit farther. So in reality, we're probably gluing about 2 inches in the center part here. And then we're going to go ahead and find the center point on his neck, and we're going to glue it in. Now you don't want to glue all the way around the neck because we are going to put the arms in, but go ahead and glue a little bit farther around there, but leave a little place where the arms can go tuck in. And then go ahead and cross it over the back, and then we're going to go ahead and do the rest of him. Okay, to attach the beard, we're just going to put some glue on the top edge of it, and we're just going to come right up to the top edge of his head. And then go ahead and put his hat on, and then go ahead and pull it down. Now we're going to glue this down here in a minute, so don't glue it yet. For his arms, we're going to take a piece of fabric that measures 1 inch by 3.5 inches and a pipe cleaner that measures 3.25 inches. And then we're going to use 2 little balls that have holes in them. So go ahead and glue your pipe cleaner down one edge, but leave an opening for the little bead for the hand. And then we're going to roll these up, and then we're going to put our bead on. Now you want to use a bead that has a hole in it because we are going to run the string through it, or the jute through it, to hold onto the sled. And then just roll that up and glue those together. And just kind of get it as tight as you can because you want his arms to kind of be slim. And then do exactly the same thing with the other arm. And then when you put your bead in on top, you're going to make sure that both of the holes go across. You don't want any of them sticking up. You want them across so that we can run that string through. Okay, once you got both of your hands done, we're going to go ahead and attach it to the sled first. So we're going to go ahead and take our jute, unattach it from the sled, and then we're going to run it through the hands. Now I'm going to show you what I did here, but then I went back, took it apart, and decided to paint my sled. So just watch what I did here, paint your sled first. So you're going to run it through the hands first, put a little bit of glue on the edge of the jute, then it's a little bit easier to slide it through that little ball. Run it through one arm and one through the next one. Just make sure that your seam is on the bottom side of those 2 arms. And then we're going to go ahead and tie it in, and then we're going to go ahead and attach it to our body. And this way we make sure that we get the tightness of the string right where we want it on his body. Next, we're going to go ahead and attach the nose, and just going to kind of lift up the top part of his hat and just stick that right up underneath there. And then you're going to put a little bit of glue on the top part of his nose to hold the hat to it. And then we're going to go ahead and pull down both sides of our hat, and we're going to glue those down. Just kind of pull it as low as you can pull it on both sides. Okay, then we're just going to attach a little pom-pom right to the top part of his hat. Okay, then to attach the arms, we're going to go ahead and put him up on the sled, figure out exactly where those arms need to go. Now, I did have to trim them off. I trimmed them off about 1/2 inch. And then you're just going to tuck those right up underneath the scarf on both sides. Just get your arm exactly where you want it before you glue them. And then do the same thing with the other arm. Just kind of make sure that you do get the arms even. Okay, and this is where I decided that I was going to go ahead and paint my sled, and I'm just going to paint it with some Waverly white chalk paint. Just get complete coverage on the top, the bottom, and the sides. And then I'm coming back in with some Parisian gray, and I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to dip my brush in my paint, then I'm going to get most of it off on the paper towel, and then I'm just going to distress my sled. Just kind of distress a little bit on the sides, the top, the bottom, on all of it. And then I just tied him right back onto it just like I did before. After I attached him back with the jute in the front part, I'm going to go ahead and glue him down. Now I'm going to use a little bit of E6000 glue and some hot glue together to attach him. And just push him down there onto the sled until he dries. And then we're going to put 2 little dollops of glue right up underneath his arms to hold him to the sled. Hey, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure and give me a like because it really does help my channel. Let me know which one of these guys you like best in the comments below. For the second little sled buddy, we're just going to take another one of those styrofoam cones and push it down into the heel of that sock. Then take a rubber band, attach it around the top part to tie that off. Then we're going to take some string and tie it off permanently. Now go ahead and make several loops on there before you tie it, and it'll hold it together pretty easy while you're doing it. And then go ahead and cut the very tip top of it off, and then we're going to make a hat with the rest. Now go ahead and put some glue on top to hold all this together. And then for the heel, we're going to go ahead and cut right across the bottom part of the heel because we only need the heel section on this. And we're going to save the rest for his legs. And then turn it inside out, and we are just going to gather the top part of it up, put a rubber band around it, and then we're going to tie it off with a string. Okay, for his legs, we're going to do the same thing we did with the first one. We're going to cut a cork at 2 of them at 1/2 inch in length each. And we're just going to put that heel section over those and cover those up just like we did the other one. And I'm going to kind of go fast through this because we just did this a second ago. To attach them, we're just going to put a little bit of glue on them and then just put them right up against the body. So the other one on the opposite side, probably about 1 inch between the two, but look at your pattern. I had to twist mine, so I wanted it to match. We're going to do the beard exactly like the first one, cutting it 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches and just cutting behind the backing in a U shape. And then go ahead and clean any excess fur off. Okay, to attach the beard, we're going to come down 1 inch from the top edge and we're going to glue our beard right there. And then we're going to go ahead and put our hat on and just pull it on down. The arms, we're going to take a piece of fabric that measures 4 inch by 1 inch, and we're going to cut our pipe cleaner at 3 3/4 inch. And just put that right inside of there and glue it down. And then we're going to make these arms exactly like we did the last one. We're just going to roll them up and we're going to just put a ball right on the tip of them. Okay, just again on the same thing that we did the other one, make sure that the ball is facing, the two holes are facing outward. Okay, and do the second arm exactly the same way. And just make sure that your holes are facing outward. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and attach our jute. We're going to put our jute onto our arms before we put it onto our sled. Just run it through there. Make sure that your seams are facing downward. And then we're going to attach it to the sled. We're going to go ahead and tie one side of our string on, tie it in a knot. And then we're going to pull the other string through, but we're not going to tie it off yet. Just kind of make sure that your seams of your arms are facing downward and that they are straight. And then go ahead and run your other line through there, and then we're going to go ahead and glue that part off on the side. Okay, then go ahead and put him onto the sled and we're going to measure his arms. Now, we did have to cut these arms off about a 1/2 inch at the edge too, just like we did the first ones because they were a little bit long. But just kind of bend them so it does look like he has some, like his arms are bent around to hold onto the sled. And then just go ahead and tuck it up underneath his hat, and that's where we're going to glue it. So go ahead and put him up underneath the hat first, and then we're going to pull the hat off once we get him exactly where we want him, and then we're going to glue him to the body. Before we finish his arms, we're going to go ahead and glue him to the sled just like we did the other one. We're going to use some E6000 glue and some hot glue. And then we're going to get him in place before we attach our arms. Next, hold on to his arms, pull his hat off, and we're just going to bend those back and glue those down. And then glue the opposite side as well. Okay, next go ahead and put his hat back on, and we're just going to pull it down into the back part. Just kind of adjust it a little bit. Then we're going to go ahead and tie our little string off in the front. And then in a little bit, we'll glue his hat down. Just kind of pull it however tight you want it, and then just go ahead and tighten a knot, and then we're going to glue that down as well. We're just going to put a little bit of glue right up underneath the back part of his hat. And then we're going to go ahead and attach his nose. And then go ahead and put a little bit of glue on top part of his nose and attach his hat to his nose. I got these little wreaths at Michael's. I'm just going to take the ribbon off the front of it. You can leave it off if you want to. I just didn't want the ribbon on it. And I'm just going to glue it together, and I'm going to attach it to the front part of both of the sleds. Just to decorate it up a little bit. Okay, I think these little guys turned out so super cute. You can do them 3 different ways: on the sled, laying down, setting up, just by themselves. If you like these kind of videos, be sure and give me a like, subscribe, and ring that bell to be notified when I have a new video upload. Thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it.